The year is 1987. A 54-year-old man sits across from Taiwan's economic minister, smoking his pipe. Everyone thinks his career is over. He spent 25 years climbing the ladder at Texas Instruments in America, expected to become CEO, but corporate politics crushed that dream. Now he's back in Taiwan, and most people see this as a comfortable retirement job at a government research institute. But this man has an idea in his head, an idea so crazy that when he presents it, people literally laugh. He wants to build a company that only manufactures chips, nothing else. No design, no brand, no products of their own, just a factory that makes chips for other people. By the end of this video, you'll discover how this bet everyone called suicide accidentally created the world's most powerful geopolitical weapon. You'll see why this one decision controls whether your phone exists tomorrow. And you'll understand the hidden war happening right now over grains of sand. His name is Morris Chang, and what he's about to build will make Taiwan more important than any army. To understand why everyone thought Morris Chang was insane, you need to know how the chip industry worked in the 1980s. Back then, giants like Intel, Motorola, and Toshiba did everything themselves. They designed the chip, built billion-dollar factories, manufactured it, packaged it, and sold it. This was called vertical integration, and it was the only way anyone did business. Building a chip factory cost hundreds of millions of dollars. So if you wanted to design chips but didn't have a factory, you were out of luck. It was like trying to sell bread without owning a bakery. Impossible. Chang's proposal was simple but radical. Separate design from manufacturing. Let designers focus on intelligence while manufacturers solve the engineering problems. He wanted to create what we now call a foundry, a factory that produces chips designed by others with absolute perfection. The Taiwanese government knew this was risky, but they had nothing to lose and everything to gain. They agreed to fund half the project. Now Chang needed a Western partner for technology and international credibility. He knocked on doors across America and Japan. Intel refused. Motorola wasn't interested. The Japanese laughed at him. They all asked the same question. How will you survive without your own product? Finally, the Dutch company Philips agreed to take the risk. In exchange for a stake in the company, they offered cash and their production technologies. On February 21st, 1987, TSMC was officially born. The early years were nothing like the giant we know today. TSMC operated from old, leased facilities. Their technology lagged behind competitors. While Intel pushed cutting-edge innovation, TSMC struggled with outdated equipment. But Chang displayed genius in one critical area: trust. Back then, big companies would sometimes accept small manufacturing orders from outside designers. But when their own work got busy, they'd instantly abandon those small customers. Chang made a promise to young chip designers. I'm not your rival. I will never design my own chip to compete with you. My only job is to bring your design to life, and I'll never let you down. This philosophy became TSMC's foundation, and it would change everything. The late 1980s brought TSMC's first big test. Intel's legendary CEO, Andy Grove, visited Taiwan. Chang convinced his old friend to tour the TSMC factory. Intel was having quality issues at the time, and Chang offered to manufacture some of their older chips. Intel engineers practically raided the facility. They inspected everything and left a thick report detailing hundreds of problems. At first glance, this looked like complete disaster. But Chang saw it differently. He saw free consulting. Working day and night, his team fixed every single issue within weeks. When Intel engineers returned, they couldn't believe their eyes. That discipline opened the door for TSMC to become an approved supplier to one of the world's biggest chip companies. But the real revolution was brewing underground. By the early 1990s, the personal computer boom was exploding. A new generation of engineers had brilliant ideas, but no factories. Companies like NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and Broadcom were born. These startups didn't have billions to build factories, but they had designs that could change the world. And they had exactly one place that could turn those designs into reality: TSMC. If TSMC hadn't existed, companies like NVIDIA probably wouldn't exist today. Chang had essentially democratized the chip industry. Anyone with a brilliant idea could now manufacture chips without needing billions in capital. By the mid-1990s, something strange started happening. Tensions rose across the Taiwan Strait. China viewed Taiwan's rise with hostility. In 1996, China conducted missile tests off Taiwan's coast, essentially blockading the island. Investors panicked. What would happen if war broke out? And that's when the world realized something terrifying. Shutting down Taiwan's chip factories would paralyze the global electronics industry. Without intending to, Morris Chang had created an invisible shield for Taiwan, a silicon shield. Fast forward to 2009. The global financial crisis has devastated the world economy. Silicon Valley is bleeding. TSMC's stock is crashing. The company is drifting without direction. Morris Chang retired in 2005 at age 74, but he can't watch this disaster unfold. In mid-2009, at age 78, he returns as CEO and slams his fist on the table. Finance directors want to cut costs and wait out the storm. Chang does the exact opposite. While rivals hit the brakes, TSMC accelerates. He increases research and factory investments to record levels, pouring billions into developing 28-nanometer technology. Everyone calls him crazy. Who will you sell to if there's no demand? Chang's answer is simple. When the storm passes, we'll be the only ones ready. When the smartphone revolution explodes in the early 2010s, TSMC is the only company capable of producing the high-performance chips these devices need. Chang was right again. But a much bigger war is brewing between Apple and Samsung. Here's Apple's dark secret in 2010. Samsung manufactures the processors for the iPhone. Yes, Apple's biggest rival makes the brain of the iPhone. Even while Apple is suing Samsung for billions over patent violations, they're dependent on Samsung's factories. Steve Jobs and Tim Cook desperately want to break free. But where can they go? There are only two options: Intel and TSMC. Allegedly, Apple first approaches Intel, but Intel views mobile processors as low-profit toys beneath them. They refuse Apple's offer. This will go down as one of the biggest mistakes in tech history. Apple is left with one choice: TSMC. Negotiations begin in complete secrecy under the code name Project Aztec. Apple isn't just demanding manufacturing. They want chips thinner, faster, and more energy efficient than anything Samsung can make. TSMC engineers develop revolutionary packaging technology called integrated fan-out. This technology eliminates the thick plastic casing around chips, creating millimeter-thin spaces inside phones. Samsung doesn't have this technology. By 2016, with the iPhone 7's A10 processor, TSMC becomes Apple's primary supplier. This deal means tens of billions of dollars flowing into TSMC every year. That cash flow gives TSMC an R&D budget competitors can't match. Meanwhile, other giants fall behind. GlobalFoundries officially quits the race in 2018, admitting they don't have enough money. Intel gets trapped in delays they call 10-nanometer hell. In 2018, Morris Chang announces his final retirement at age 87. But the legacy he leaves isn't just a company. It's the world's most strategic asset. Across the Taiwan Strait, Chinese President Xi Jinping is watching closely. The United States realizes with horror that even their military technology depends on tiny chips from Taiwan. Who manufactures chips for F-35 fighter jets? TSMC. Who makes processors for NSA supercomputers? TSMC. As Chang exits the stage, the world stands on the brink of a new Cold War, and the battlefield isn't nuclear missiles, it's nanometers. Then 2020 arrives. The pandemic locks down the world. Automotive giants like Ford and General Motors panic and cancel their chip orders, assuming nobody will buy cars. This becomes one of the costliest mistakes in industrial history. Because the world didn't stop during the pandemic, it shifted. Offices moved to homes. Meetings moved to Zoom. Schools moved to tablets. The biggest electronics consumption boom in history begins. TSMC's phones won't stop ringing. Apple, AMD, Nvidia, Qualcomm. Everyone is desperately demanding more capacity. The company runs factories at over 100% capacity. When automakers return at the end of 2020 saying they were wrong and want their orders back, TSMC politely tells them, "You're too late. The waiting time is 52 weeks. Think about that. Cars worth tens of thousands of dollars can't be produced because they lack a $5 chip that controls the steering wheel. The global auto industry loses $210 billion in 2021 alone. The world learns a painful lesson. If TSMC coughs, the world catches pneumonia. But this production frenzy has a tragic cost. Taiwan experiences its worst drought in 56 years. TSMC factories need tens of thousands of tons of ultra-pure water daily. The government makes a terrible choice. Either the fields or the factories. The decision is made. Farmers' water is cut off. Rice fields dry up. Water trucks form kilometer-long lines at TSMC factories. Taiwan is sacrificing its land's bounty so the world won't be without smartphones. May 2020 brings another crisis. The U.S. government escalates its war against Chinese tech giant Huawei. At the time, Huawei is TSMC's second largest customer after Apple, representing 14% of revenue. The U.S. changes export rules. If you use American technology in production, you cannot sell chips to Huawei. TSMC's machines and software are American-made. TSMC faces an impossible choice. Lose billions by dropping Huawei, or lose American technology and become unable to produce anything. The decision is made with cold rationality. TSMC cuts off Huawei. September 14th, 2020 is the last day. This move ends Huawei's smartphone leadership and humiliates the Chinese Communist Party. Meanwhile, Washington welcomes TSMC's loyalty but remains terrified. More than 90% of the world's most advanced chips are manufactured in Taiwan, an island China claims as its territory. The U.S. applies pressure. Bring your factories to America. Morris Chang had always said this was a bad idea. American costs are too high. But politics wins. TSMC announces a massive complex in Phoenix, Arizona. The investment starts at $12 billion, then rises to $40 billion. President Biden personally attends the opening ceremony, declaring America's manufacturing has returned. But everyone knows TSMC will keep its most advanced technology in Taiwan. They're bringing older technology to America. At age 90, Morris Chang says with a smile at a conference, "Manufacturing chips in America costs 50% more than Taiwan. This is a futile effort. But for TSMC, this factory is political insurance. Keeping America happy guarantees Taiwan's security against China." Then 2023 arrives with a tsunami. ChatGPT launches, and generative AI explodes. Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon enter the greatest arms race in history. But the weapons in this race are GPUs, not missiles. NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, takes center stage. As NVIDIA's value surpasses trillions, everyone talks about Huang. But in every interview, he says the same thing. "We design brilliantly, but there's only one master builder, TSMC." NVIDIA's most powerful AI chips, selling for $30,000 each, are manufactured exclusively in TSMC factories. The world wants NVIDIA chips. NVIDIA begs TSMC for more capacity. The pace of the AI revolution isn't determined by code. It's determined by factory capacity in Taiwan. By 2024, TSMC's indispensability creates a terrifying scenario. Intelligence reports say Xi Jinping ordered his army to reach invasion capacity by 2027. This is the world's greatest fear. What happens if China invades Taiwan and seizes TSMC factories? Some American strategists propose a horrifying solution. If invasion becomes inevitable, bomb the factories. Rather than let China have them, destroy them completely. These allegations spark outrage in Taiwan. But TSMC Chairman Mark Liu reveals a more ingenious deterrent in a rare interview. No one can control TSMC by force. Why? Because TSMC factories are digitally connected in real time to suppliers worldwide. Those giant machines from Dutch company ASML require constant software updates and remote maintenance. Allegedly, there's a kill switch mechanism that could remotely lock down machines if invasion occurs. Even if soldiers entered the factory, they'd find silent piles of metal worth $200 billion with software support cut off. TSMC is nothing without global cooperation. Today, TSMC's market value exceeds $1.5 trillion. That small company, founded in 1987, when everyone said it was impossible, is now one of the world's most valuable companies. But TSMC's story isn't just about success. It's a warning. The world spent 100 years fighting over oil. Now, they're holding their breath over silicon made from grains of sand, the heart of modern civilization. From smartphones to electric cars, from bank accounts to hospital equipment, beats with nanometric precision under yellow lights in clean rooms in Taiwan's earthquake zone. One island, one company, and the entire world depends on it. If you found this story fascinating, smash that like button and drop a comment below. What do you think? Is TSMC Taiwan's greatest shield or its biggest target? And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the companies quietly shaping our future. Thanks for watching.